Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going through the patch notes for, I guess, the Demon King Part 2 event before we get the new MELI next week. So, firstly, they have announced that, yes, they did end up buffing MELI. Now they've officially said it. I guess, once again, they didn't tell us previously, but yeah, they didn't mean to do it, and now they're doing it now. Wow, I wonder why this new MELI could be getting an update. But definitely not because there's a new one coming next week. But yeah, he got a rough buff. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. You've got 100 attack, about 100 defense, and 1,000 health. It's not too much in terms of CC, but once again, it's an improvement to an old character, which is something we all like to see, even if it is very minimal. Once again, it'll be impactful in some way or another. You know, you may live on 1 health, or, you know, you get a little bit extra attack to do the kill. But it's not bad, honestly. I like to see buffs, and I wish they do more of them in the future. Here we go, onto the actual update itself. So they're not really adding much to this update. Mainly just this Hawk event, which you don't really get too... The rewards aren't the best, I'm not going to lie. These are the end rewards, and this is the final reward, which is 10 diamonds, which isn't bad. You've then got this, and then that is it. Okay. I didn't realize that was a bug. They have not mentioned the bug about getting 6 skills instead of the normal 7. Maybe they're just going to patch that and not mention that it was a glitch, because it looks pretty bad that it stayed out for a week. Maybe. But we have a lot of things to discuss in today's video. Mainly the fact that the character after MELI has also been leaked, being a new SKADI, being a green SKADI, because we already have blue, we already have red, so it has to be green. MELI could be blue or red. Probably red. The demons have quite a trend of being red. You know, you've got Red Estarossa, you've got Demi, you've got Red Chandler, you know, you've got all these red characters. Lost Fane's red, but once again, he was the original Festal. But yeah, we do have the next basically 3 weeks, I'll say from now on, about 3 weeks worth of banners confirmed. I'll go over the release dates if some people are wondering what the release dates are. So MELI will release on the 7th of August, the new SKADI released on the 21st of August, and then we'll have the end of month banner on the 28th of August. So, talking about the end of month banner, you know, what could it be? Realistically, we don't know, solely because the fact of how we had that solo leveling collab, which completely threw everyone off. Realistically, it could be another collab. Will it be another collab? Maybe. They seem like they're on a roll recently with collabs, and I feel like that's what they're going to try and push for now, is to get as many collabs out as possible, get as many IPs in the part of their collection, because, you know, once you've got the IP once, it's a lot easier to get it for reruns and so on and so forth, but also it's a really good way of attracting new players. Solo leveling was a huge example of that. It increased the player base by 15% within 20 days, which is absolutely phenomenal for a game that is 5 years old. Your player base is increased by 15%. Bear in mind, Grindcross has a few million players, right, in terms of the downloads. I'm not sure about, you know, current players, active players, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's huge. Once again, some of these players may just play the game for a while, then get bored, and then leave the game, but that's just what every gacha game has, right? Some hype content comes out, people start playing the game for a while, and then it dies off, but then something else hype comes out, and they continue to play the game again. That's just how gacha games work. But yeah, not bad, really. Of course, we know MELI is going to be a 600 banner. We know SKADI will most likely be a 242 banner. Apparently she's been rumoured to be a Ragnarok/Giant backline character, which seems okay. SKADI may also see a buff in terms of stats. You know, we never know. MELI got it. SKADI's also quite an old character. She may also receive the same treatment, which is what I'd like to see. Once again, the end of month banner next month. It could be basically anything. It won't be a Festal. It shouldn't be a Festal, because we had a Festal this month, and they don't do back-to-back Festals anymore, because we basically told them off for doing so. So, what could we expect? Maybe a Catastrophes. We haven't had a Catastrophes in over a year, so it's possible we get a Catastrophes banner. It's possible we get a Ragnarok banner, because it'll be over a year since we've had a Ragnarok banner. New Ragnarok characters, what I mean. And then, once again, it could quite easily be a collab. Could it be a new collab? Could it be a rerun? We don't know. Could it even be a normal rerun? For example, Jobless Reincarnated, you know, it recently had well, not recently. It had the 3rd season quite a while ago, and it could quite easily get a rerun there. AOT, possibly, you know, they said that they're going to be buffing certain races recently. That's what an official insider has said, that we can confirm is an insider. Well, they work with the VAs, so that's basically as inside as you get. And they said they're going to be working on buffing 2 races in particular. Once again, we recently seen an influx of demons, which sort of makes sense. You know, they want to buff demons. Demons are sort of quite outdated. The new Demon King is sort of bringing them back a little bit. Little by little, all he needs now is a few extra teammates, and you've got a meta team. A really meta team, in fact. And then you've got, once again, the new SKADI, maybe trying to push Giants and Ragnarok, which makes a lot of sense. You know, Giants are pretty mid, and I guess anyway, I see them pushing Giants. You haven't really got any OCs that are Giant, that aren't like SKADI. You know, unless they make a catastrophe, which they quite easily could. It's their original story. They can make a catastrophe Giant if they really wanted to. But if you turn in terms of collabs, you've only really got AOT. That could be a collaboration that involves Giants. Do I think we'll see AOT? Probably not. Last time they had AOT, they flexed about how they had the license for like 2 years, and the characters released, and they were like 2-year-old characters. That's what they felt like, at least. One was countering Pugban, who was completely out of the meta at the time, and the other one was countering Margaret, who were both meta at the same time about 2 years prior. So, you know. But in terms of if it is a new collab, once again, I've already mentioned it in several videos. You know, you're probably looking at collabs where the boss can also be a playable character, or it's just a reskin. Freerun's quite a good example, like I always say. It's got quite a good hype around it. Once again, they also go Shangri-La. They are making a Shangri-La game, and once again, it does mean they'll have to make a fourth model for the boss, but they may just import a model from their game, their new game that they're developing, and put it into Grand Cross. You know, there's no reason why they wouldn't, there's no reason why they couldn't, and there's no reason why they shouldn't. So, yeah, that's all about it. We also had some news about Origin. I may do a completely different video on that. But yeah, this update's pretty mid, but we've got a few quite hype updates coming in the future, and we just got to hope that they live up to their expectations. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.